What's good, everyone? Zuukle here, and I'm back again with another video. Yes, I know it's been a very long time, but I'm here to teach you a secret. This is going to be the final build of for all BRICKWALL PVE builds, okay? Until they change something, this should be it. There's no way to make the build better. Because you guys remember, we used to be able to shrine down weapons and we no longer can. And with this build template that I'm about to show you guys, it's going to be the best. And it's going to be good for Hell Mode, Diluvian, Layer 2, stuff like that. Everything. Literally everything. This will work for all of that. But there's only one catch. Is that it only works with Grimoire, Vesperian, and Khan. Does not work with anything else. Why? Because it's very talent dependent. So with that being said, if you like this type of content and you want to see more, feel free to subscribe and like this video for more. Make sure you join the Discord because I do post all my PvE builds, and I'm thinking about posting PvP builds too. I have a lot in mind and I would love to share, so support me, you know. So let's get it started. But like I said, you can use Grimoire or Khan. All right, these are the only other two races that work with this type of build set. Now you can work around that by using something like the Grand Sudaruska, but I'll get to that maybe in another video or something. So like I said, grab your Vesperian Oath. To be honest, how things are moving, you can go Dawnwalker because it does do a lot of damage, but you have to keep in mind that if you're doing the Diluvian with teammates, you will have to watch out with your Radiant Dawn and all that. But Radiant Kick and anything else, all free game. Me personally, I always go Blind Seer because for one, the visuals, it makes the videos look better. Two, I got Mind Suit so I can heal my teammates. And three, I have Silas Beam, which is very good if you have a Bloodless Gem on it. For Origin, to be honest, you can use any Origin you want. You're not locked to a certain Origin just because you're a PvE build. So you can go Voidwalker if you don't want to get Voidwalked, or if you want the free TP, you can go Deepbound if you want the free XP, if you want to be able to use Castle Light, stuff like that. You can use Lone Warrior if you just don't want to use anything else, or Castaway, it doesn't matter. Me personally, I always go Deepbound because if you're a PvE build, you're going to want to have access to Castle Light. You can sell stuff, use the bank, etc. Murmur, you should always go Ardor because with Ardor, you have your Ardor Scream, which also, buffs you and your teammates too. For Bell, this is situational. If you're more like a solo player, you can use stuff like Payback. If you have a corrupted Payback, it does heal you. If you have the Beam variant, but if you're more of a team player like I am, I use Sacred Field all the time. I don't use anything else. But you can get TP or Convoy. It's really up to you. So for this build to actually work, I will tell you stat order before anything else, okay? So how I built this build, right? How I will always prog this build, I will usually go 30 Fortitude, 30 Strength. Why? You get stuff like Warrior's Respite and you get your Lose Your Mind, which is very crucial for this build to work. Once you got that, I forgot to mention this, but at any point of your progression, you can grab your attunement no matter what. You can get it at level 1, you can get it at the end of ready to prog, stuff like that. It doesn't matter. Me personally, I always get at level 1 because once you hit power 2, you will get your first mantra, and it should be something within your attunement. So right here, now that I'm level 3, I may have a Providence Battle Axe so I can escape the depths without having to have somebody carry me. I will go get my attunement, which like I said, this is universal. This is a base plate, the final version. Think of the final boss. There's no better than this. So you can go one Iron Sing. I'm gonna be real, I would never use Shadow or Thundercall because those they're not good for PvE. Gale, Frost, and Flame Charm should be your main 3 PvE attunements. For the sake of this video, I'll probably go Gale because Gale is very easy. Get your 2 Gale Stones. Once you got that, oh yeah, now look you guys, I can get my first mantra, which to be honest, you can use stuff like Tornado Kick, which is pretty solid. From there, I always go 100 Willpower because you unlock a card called Not a Scratch, and it gives you 2 free posture. I think it broke, but that's fine. It gives you 2 free posture. From there, I then go 100 Fortitude and 1 heavy weapon. Now, as you guys can see, you hit power 14, you're 5 points away. but how do I get my brick wall and stuff like that? You will have to talk to Mystic, and if you look in this builder tool and scroll down to where like you see your brick wall, if you like hover over the human agriculture, it tells you your mystic line. That mystic line is what you need in order to roll for a brick wall, because you will need to talk to the Shrine of Chance in order to get this card. And the cool thing about that is that you don't need to use a rare card. You can go ahead and use like a common card. For example, if you were to roll 2, you're to get like something like the 11th hour and like last resort. Roll the 11th hour. You don't need it. Boom, like you rolled that and then you obtain brick wall. Boom, you're good to go. That's how easy it is. And then for reinforce, all you need right here, you need all 5 of these bastion cards in order to obtain reinforced armor. So make sure you get that as well. So this is what the build looks like pre-shrine. Like this is like completely done, finished pre-shrine. You got your 1 Gale, your 1 Heavy, you have your Lose Your Mind, you have your brick wall, you have your Piercing Will, stuff like that. All that's common, okay? Like that should be like common sense to you guys at this point, because that's how I base my builds off of. From there, you Shrine of Order and it's gonna look something like that. Those 3 extra points you take off of like strength actually makes the build. Why? Because if you do post shrine, now you're 3 points off from like getting like Ebon Spear and like level 5 mantras. From here, I usually go like straight to like 80 Gale and then try to get my mantras up to par, because mantras do more damage than your M1s would, especially if you're using a brick wall build, because you don't have a lot of like room to like move around, I guess you can say. From here, I usually go Ebon Spear. Reason why I choose Ebon Spear is because it does have innate bleed, and that innate bleed boosts your damage. For a build that doesn't run Speed Demon, you know, any damage is good damage, and because you're not using Speed Demon or any agility at all, it's good to have no matter what. For vitality, stuff like that, depending on how the meta is played, because you know, as you guys know, the meta changes a lot, and in order to compensate for that, you kind of have to roll with the flow. There's no way to change it, there's no way to revert anything. Like the devs are set on that stuff. So me personally, if I want to look for a little extra tankiness, I go 6 vitality. For example, if it's like an Iron Sing build or maybe a Gale build, I'll use some Erudition, because you will be needing Erudition for like Wind Passage. Frost is a pretty good one too, because you have like Ice Skates. I would say Frost is like the beginner ground for PVE, because not only do you get mobility, you get solid mantras, and it's good for layer 2. Gale is probably by far the strongest so far, and I can basically kill a corrupted Sharko with 1 Astral Wind. Flame is more like on the support side, because if you are ever doing like the Diluvian, and if you guys want to join my guild, I'll have it linked in my Discord, but we do Diluvian every day and we never die, never wipe. No one gets close to wiping, because a lot of us hold these like brick wall builds that are very hard to kill. As I was saying, Flame is more like the support side for the graceful. Make sure you never use Eruption. I regret making that like endless build, because people kept using like Eruption, and it's super hard to like try to fight things when everything's just constantly blowing up. So just avoid that. From here, boons and flaws. I forgot to tell you like the last like 6 points here. You like I said, you can practically use anything. Me personally, I'll use 2 into proficiency, because it does give you 15% extra damage on your M1s, which may not seem like much, but because you don't hit the damage cap, it's still usable. And then I go 4 into like Song Chan. From there, because I have no Erudition, I usually run a lot of like blue gems. So depending on the build and how like I want it to run, changes how I put gems on everything. Here, these are like your only boons you should ever use on a PvE build. And you know, it could be subjective, people have their own opinions, but this is mine, and if you're watching this video, then you're obviously looking for my opinion. Grab your Steadfast. Now this helps you retain more armor, and it stacks with the armor conserver. Secondly, go survivalist. If you're a beginner or you're like intermediate and stuff like that, or you just don't want to worry about anything, get survivalist, because not only will you be able to survive acid rain, if you're in layer 2, it takes like 3 times as long for the parasites to eat you. So if you're a beginner, like I said, it's very helpful, because you do not need to worry about hitting a lantern. Now flaws, because it is your build and you can do whatever you want, you can use anything, right? Well, what if I told you there is one flaw that is actually not really a flaw? It's simple. Now people are like, oh, but I'm gonna level up slower. You really don't. If you're deep bound Val Thorns, you're not gonna notice that simple flaw, because realistically that simple flaw only hits once you're power 17. Anything below that, it's free game. I won't go anything else, anything more. And once you shrine, you do get a flaw, and aim for something like Manic, Squeamish. You can use Obvious as well. Those are very solid because if you're a PvE build, you're gonna be running like Carnivore, so Squeamish is out of the way because you have Carnivore and Grand Feast. Hemophilia doesn't really work, but if you're doing a lot of like solo stuff, Hemophilia actually affects you. So to each their own. But as always, I go simple, and if I can, I'll roll for Manic. Now, talents are very subjective because it really is dependent on the attunement you pick. So I'm gonna leave that to you guys to figure out because let's be real, once you completed like the pre-shrine, anything post-shrine can be fixed by layer 2s and like you're getting extra knowledge. So if you do a lot of like ferryman, you can get a moon's eye. So you know, if there's always a possibility of fixing like a broken build. Now weapons, like I said, I always like to use the Evan Spear, and there is ways to go about this. For example, you don't always got to go 80 Gale, you can go 60, but you lose out on a lot of talents and you lose out on level 5 mantras. So just keep that in mind. If you're willing to sacrifice that for a little extra M1 damage, go ahead. No one's there to stop you, okay? Because remember, it is your build and not theirs. So what does that leave you with? 10 extra points. You can't throw that into your heavy weapon. You get the back into your Gale, but like I said, you don't have level 5 mantras, so it's useless. You can put 5 points into intel because it does give you nullifying clarity. So if you wanted to use something like blazing, chilling, storm, or something like that, you can. It still works. It's very viable. And if you're like, for example, let's say you didn't go Gale and you went flame, you can use blazing and it will work. You have like your enforcer hammer, you have your level 4 flame mantras, and you have no flying clarity. Don't get eruption, remember, but you will be able to do it like 15% extra damage, so that's still viable. And then secondly, you got that 5 extra points, you can throw it into agility because it gives you a card called time to go right here. Taking a life grants a speed boost, and this stacks, by the way. So if you're killing a lot of monsters, you will be running a little bit faster. Just saying. With that being said, I hope I grabbed everything. Oh yeah, one more thing about rings. If you are doing layer 2, you have to grab Prophet's Cloak, Ishin's Ring, and Ring of Casters because it will boost your damage significantly. And if you do layer 2s enough and you don't take any damage, Ishin's Ring is nothing. It's free damage. Like, look at this. I'm pretty sure it's like 20%. So as you see up here, 44.3. If I put that on, that's 52.4 from M1s. Imagine what's that doing to your mantras. Like I said, just imagine. Thanks for watching to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next video.